I am Galzeerah and I am bringing you a quick comprehensive daily stretch. So ideally you would do this at least maybe every other day for maintenance to help muscles feel better, less sore, prevent injury, have better flexibility. I will try to go through each stretch as concisely as I can, but if you've watched any of my videos, you know how passionate I am about health, fitness, the human body, and I like to make flowery speeches about it. But ideally this will be a 10-minute stretch video. It's not a workout in and of itself. It is great though for maintenance and promoting your flexibility, your posture, and it's really good to do as recovery after a workout. The ideal time to stretch is when you're already warmed up. So stretching first thing out of bed, go gently, but to really get your deep stretches, it's better to do it after a workout, after you've been up and moving around. So we will go from head to toe, stretch all the major muscle groups. We're not going to touch on every single specific muscle. I will break up probably in future videos body regions, stretches for the neck and shoulders specifically, stretches for the back, all three levels, stretches for the hips. But this will kind of touch on all your major muscle groups. It's a great kind of generic basic daily stretch. So let's start with the neck. We often forget that we have muscles in the front of the neck. So let's stretch these guys. We're just gonna look upwards and try to pull your shoulder blades down. Look up and try not to just use the vertebral movement, but try to actually like lift your chin, stretch the muscles. You could even use the hands to kind of pull down the muscles towards the collarbone. But we want to feel a good stretch through the front of the neck. Most of us get tight there from looking down at cell phones and tablets and whatnot. So stretches really should be held probably longer than what most people do. A 10-second stretch is good, but to get full benefit and get more permanent flexibility, it should be at least 20 seconds. Good. We'll get the side of the neck, couple different levels. Just tilt the head to the side, eyes forward, so you're bringing one ear to the same side shoulder. If you need more, you would bring your hand behind your back, gently pull it down, and then tilt. And that's going to stretch lots of different muscles from the base of the skull that fan out and go down towards the shoulder. So again, if you can get those longer holds, 20, 30 plus seconds, that will do a lot more for you. A quick stretch is certainly better than none, but to really get full flexibility benefits and calm down tight muscles, try to hold longer. Good, let's switch. So either just bending the head or adding that little pull, anchoring the shoulder down. Stretching should not hurt, so if you're forcing the movement and making your muscles more irritable, you're actually going backwards instead of making progress. So it's better to stretch more gently and hold it longer. That way, tight muscles will have a chance to actually calm down. You'll trigger a relaxation reflex, and you'll actually feel better. Stretching should make you feel better, not worse. Good. And then one more kind of geared towards the neck, shoulder area, near the skeleton. We're going to stretch, or near the spine, we're going to stretch the chest. So a couple ways to do this. If you are really tight, you may only need to do this. Bring the arms up part way and pull them back. You may feel plenty of stretch through the chest, maybe down the biceps. If you need a little bit more, find a doorway, put the hands on either side, step through with one foot and hold. And again, if it hurts, you back off a little. If you're stretching and you get tingling or numbness into the hands, or when we do the hips and back into the feet, if it's just mild and it doesn't last, it's probably harmless. You're probably just stretching tight muscles over nerves that have to pass under them. So that just means nothing scary, you just have to stretch more. So especially with this stretch, if you get numbness and tingling into the pinky and ring finger, hi cat, that probably just means your pec minor is very tight, because this stretch will pull that and your ulnar nerve runs under it. It just means you gotta work at it. Good. All right, and then a shoulder stretch. This is a very global shoulder stretch. It's not specific to one muscle, but it will get lots of different areas. Bring one arm up and then bend the elbow. So if you can't reach all the way up, just do what you can tolerably. You can even prop your arm against the wall and work on it that way. The other arm, meanwhile, comes up behind your back. You can always modify with a strap or a towel, and you're just holding wherever you can tolerate. Try not to arch your back, and you should feel pull through the tricep of the top arm and through the front of the shoulder of the bottom arm. It shouldn't hurt. If you get better at it, or if you can already reach the fingers comfortably, hang out here. So in my work as a clinician, this is a quick screening. If a patient can touch the hands or get them fairly close, within a few inches, that is just fairly normal range of motion. So you can improve your flexibility, but if you're already there, that's good, and just maintain it. Good, let's switch. So again, top arm, if you can't get that arm up all the way, use a wall to help you. And then bring in the bottom arm. If you have joint problems, don't force it. If you have severe arthritis or a frozen shoulder, just do what you can. I'd rather, again, that you hold where you can comfortably for the full 20 seconds, 30 seconds, up to a minute. Get the full benefit instead of forcing it and making yourself more painful. You should be able to breathe normally during stretching. If you are short of breath, probably means that there's too much pain, you're pushing too hard, please back off. So again, we're not stretching every single muscle individually, but this gets pretty much all the majority, touches on it anyway. So we're getting the inferior capsule of the top arm, you're getting the posterior capsule of the bottom arm, your tricep, your bicep, lots of different things going on. Good. All right, we're gonna stretch the back. If you can get down onto your knees, that's great. This is a child's pose, this is a yoga stretch. You're just going to bring your hands in front, kind of like an all fours position. Watch out for cats. And then sit back over your heels. You're gonna feel whatever's tightest. So if you're tight in your shoulders, you'll feel it there. If you're tight in your mid back, you'll feel it there, or your low back. But just hold there and breathe. Thumbs up if you have pets that like to help you work out. So if you can't get on your knees, your alternative would be using a kitchen counter or table. You're going to keep your knees unlocked, so not jammed straight. Put the hands on the counter and round your back forward. So as if you had like a low table with a beach ball on it, you have to round forward over the ball. And then in either position, either modification, if you need a little more stretch to one side, walk your hands slightly towards one side. So if you bring your hands to the left, you should feel the right shoulder, right mid-back, right low back a little more. If you have trouble stretching, if everything's really sore and tight, another thing to think about is your hydration level. Go ahead and switch sides. So muscles that aren't getting adequate blood flow, that don't have enough oxygen, all of the inflammation just sits there, they're going to be a lot more of a pain to stretch. If you have plenty of fluid in your system, you'll have good blood flow, all of your collagen fibers will be more pliable, more pumped up, easier to manipulate. So get your bare minimum of 64 fluid ounces, 8 glasses of water a day. Some of us need more, especially if you work hard, you work outdoors. Don't drink them all at once. You can overhydrate, so try to aim for 1 glass of water per hour. Good. So that's kind of the whole back. You may feel it in one area more specifically, but that's a good stretch for all of your spinal extensors. Likewise, let's get the front because we did the chest, but abdominals can get tight too. So the easiest way to get that is standing, have the hands on the back just to kind of support yourself. Lean back with the chest and then arch your back a little bit. If you get pain and pinching in your low back, then please back out of it a little bit. You can also bring the arms overhead if you need a little bit more. You should feel that stretch through the chest and through your abs. It's also good to go into extension. So arching the back, again, don't push into sharp pain, but so much of what we do rounds us forward. We're looking down, we're working on low surfaces, we're chopping veggies on a low counter, we're bent over the computer. So extension is kind of the anti-gravity positioning. So it's important to try to maintain as much as you can. Good. Okay, lower body, we're going to stretch the hip flexors, so the front of the hip. A couple ways we can do it. The easiest, well, the simplest, is to have a chair or a step in front of you. We're going to put one leg up on the chair. The leg that's behind is the one you're stretching. Keep your torso upright, and we're going to lunge forward. That should hopefully bring a nice stretch right to the front of the hip. So this is a good, simple way to do it. If you don't have a chair available, what you do is just take a step forward. But then, this is the tricky part, so if you don't get it, just use a chair. We need a pelvic tilt. So you're going to tighten your low abs and your buttocks and tilt your pelvis under you. So if you have ever had a dog or seen a dog, when they get scared, they tilt their tail, tuck it under the legs. That's kind of the movement. And hold. Get your 30 seconds here. So stretching hip flexors. These guys get tight when we sit a lot because we're shortening them. Especially in vehicles, car seats. Often put your knees up higher than your butt. So then you're really shortening those hip flexors. So if you have back pain or hip pain driving, one thing to always check is your seat positioning. So if you find that your seat tilts so your hips are up higher, or sorry, your knees are up higher than your hips, see if you can tilt it level or down even. Good. And let's switch. So you're either going to put your right or your opposite foot, I don't know which one you did first, I did my right, on the chair and lunge forward, or just keep on a level surface if you can figure out how to do that pelvic tilt. So yeah, car seat positioning usually is like this. So your knees are up higher than your hips if you can tilt it level or down. These are coasters. They also make great visuals. But if you're tight there, check out your car seat alignment. If it doesn't adjust, you can also get a wedge cushion. So it's thick in the back and tapers down towards the front, towards the knees. That's what I have in my car, because most car seats are terrible. All right, hip flexors. So, likewise, we'll get the quads. Those are connected because one of your quad muscles actually is a hip flexor, and most of us get tight through the quads. So, if you want to do the traditional quad stretch standing up, you can. You can grab your pant leg, use a towel or a strap, or grab the foot or ankle if you can. Just beware, it's very easy to get this wrong. If you're way out here, you're not really stretching. If your quad's tight, it will want to cheat by arching your back. That might stretch, your abdominals and get you some spinal extension. It's not stretching your quad though. So you want to keep the knees level with each other or forward. So if you're real tight, you may feel a stretch here. If you can bring the knees level with each other, great, but try not to arch backwards. So again, pelvic tilt is really handy for that. Feel free to hold something for balance. So you can stretch the quad this way, it's handy, you don't need to get down on the ground, but there's a lot of variables to control. So we'll go to the other side, feel free to do the standing one, but I will show you an alternative. Good, so we'll switch, do the standing up variety, or here's another way you can get your quad. You might want something to kneel on. The leg that you're stretching goes down to kneeling with the other leg in front for balance. And then, same idea, we're gonna reach for the pant leg or the foot. And this way, it takes out a couple variables. If, however, you have kneecap pain because you have a tracking issue or you've bruised it or you just get fluid on the knees, this may not be appropriate for you, so the standing up one may be better. But this is a good way to stretch the quad. Do not mind the background music. That's just my cell phone and I'm not answering it now. Good, so same thing. Not forcing the stretch, you just want to feel discomfort, tension, but no sharp pain. So whatever variety works better for you. Good. All right, we're going down. So we've got the hip flexors, the quads. We got to get the back side. So there are 28 different muscles on the right and 28 different muscles on the left side of your SI joint. So things around the hips and pelvis. So we're not touching on everything specifically. Again, this is just kind of a quick daily stretch. So a couple hip stretches, options for you. One of the easier ones, if you're tight in your outer hip, your piriformis, sit on the edge of a chair. You're gonna cross your ankle over your opposite leg. This may be your stretch. If you feel tension here, hold there. If you need more, push your knee down. And then if you need even more, lean your chest forward over that leg. That's stretching piriformis, along with some other hip rotators. But piriformis is a little muscle deep in the buttock, and when it goes into spasm, it really can create problems. It will pull your sacrum out of alignment. It will compress your sciatic nerve and give you all kinds of cramping, sometimes numbness, tingling down the leg. So this is an important muscle to keep stretched. So you can do it that way. Feel free to switch sides. I'll show you a different variation for this other side. You can do it sitting on the ground, one leg in front, cross over and hug that knee in towards you. So that's another way to get it. If you need more, you bend the bottom knee and turn a little bit. Good. Again, get those long holds. If you can do 30 seconds or more, that's going to give you a lot more benefit. So we want to feel that stretch in the outer hip. Good. All right. We'll get the IT band and then the calves. So just two more. IT band is a tendon. There's a muscle in the front of the hip, kind of front and side right here. It becomes tendon, it crosses the hip bone. So if you've ever had hip bursitis and you have trouble lying on these bones, lying on your side, it keeps you awake at night, it could be that your IT band is so tight that it's compressing down on it. The IT band will then come down, it attaches below the knee. So if it's real tight, it can also give you knee problems. So one easy way to stretch it, stand near the wall for balance. We're going to cross one leg over the other, the leg closest to the wall, the one that's behind. You're then just leaning your hip towards the wall. That should feel like a good stretch in the outer hip. You may feel it down towards the knee. If you don't, it's okay because that IT band is tendon. Tendon's not that sensitive, so you may not feel it down here, but if you're feeling it up here in the muscle, you've got it. And again, just go with what's tolerable. Stretching again is uncomfortable, but not painful. You can actually make muscles more tight and more irritable by overstretching them. So sometimes less is more. All you need more of is your hold time, more than your intensity. Good. So flip over, do the other side. So again, use the wall, cross one leg over the other, and then push the back hip towards the wall. I'm going to show you another variety, so do it that way if you like, or cross the leg over and just lean without touching a wall. You just have to push your hip out towards the side. If you need more, you bring the arm overhead. If you don't feel it, kind of play around with the pelvis positioning. You may have to push the opposite hip down to really open up this area. And again, if you feel it in the outer hip, you've got it, even if you don't feel it all the way down to the knee. It's still doing it. Oh, we gotta get hamstrings too. Can't forget those guys. So, simplest hamstring stretch. Hamstrings go from the sit bone down below the knee. Standing position. Keep the knees mostly straight. Don't lock them, but they're mostly straight. You're gonna walk the hands down just until you can feel the stretch through the back of the knees and hang out there. I advocate for people to try yoga because a lot of yoga postures and movements stretch all of these muscle groups just as you go through it. So yoga is a great discipline for not just flexibility, but also yoga often builds more strength, core stability, good for posture, and also just good for body awareness. Yoga helps you slow down and figure out how you move and how muscles work together and how the brain can tell muscles to contract when you need them to. Good, and finally, let's stretch the calves. Again, it's not comprehensive, total, every single muscle stretch workout, but stretch routine, but this does cover all the basics. So a couple ways we can do this. If you're really tight, all you do is bring your feet close together, stand near a wall, and then you're leaving your heels down and stretching both calves at the same time. If you need a little more stretch, you may want to break it up and do one at a time. Put the front foot down for balance, and then you're just pushing the heel down. So that's going to stretch the main calf muscle, your gastroc. You can also play around and see what's tightest because you have another muscle group under there. There's a deeper one, your soleus, so bend your knees slightly, and that's going to change the stretch a little bit. You'll feel it kind of more low, more towards your Achilles. Good, and then let's get the other one. So thank you for doing this basic stretch routine. I know we've gone over 10 minutes, but hopefully the info's helpful. You can speed it up. What I often do is combine my neck and shoulder upper body stretches while I'm doing some lower body stretches. So for this one, you don't even really need the wall. You can push your heel down and here, stretch your shoulders at the same time. So combine things as you see fit. Find what really works for you. The stretches you feel a lot more are probably where you're more tight, so work on those. And there's always probably at least 5 or 6 ways to stretch an area, whether sitting, standing, lying down. But my hope is that this is a good, comprehensive, kind of quick and easy whole body stretch routine for you that you will incorporate into your daily recovery self-care workout regimen and get more flexible and taller and better looking. If you feel good and you're fit, you will be better looking, by the way. So extra motivation to try to stick to your fitness plan. Thank you very much, my friends. God bless you. This is Galzeerah Fitness signing out. Be well.